Story 14, Clowns at the Window. It was supposed to be the best Halloween party of the year. The old house on the edge of campus had been empty since spring semester, but when Jason's cousin said they could use it for one night, everyone jumped at the chance. They called it the Basement Bash, the last big blowout before midterms. The place had that perfect haunted house energy, creaky stairs, peeling wallpaper, and an unfinished basement that smelled faintly of dust and metal. Someone strung orange lights through the kitchen, another group bought fog machines, and by 10 o'clock the music was loud enough to shake the window panes. Outside, the autumn air was cold, and the street was quiet, too quiet for a college town on Halloween. Around 11, as the party hit its peak, someone shouted from the living room, "Yo, there's a clown outside." People laughed at first. Someone joked it was part of the theme. But when a few guests pressed up against the windows, they saw it. A figure standing just beyond the porch light, wearing a cheap plastic clown mask, head tilted slightly, not moving. Then a second one appeared, and a third. They didn't come to the door. They just stood there in the dark yard, watching. Phones came out immediately. Videos, snaps, nervous laughter. "They're just trying to freak us out," one guy said. "It's probably the frat next door." But when a group went outside to check, the clowns were gone. That's when the power flickered. Once, twice, then held steady. People started joking again, the music turned back up, and the tension melted, at least until someone realized the door to the basement, which had been shut all night, was now standing open. Jason said he'd closed it, but his friend Mia stopped him. "You said your cousin locked that door earlier." "She did," Jason said. "The key's in her car." The basement light was on, a harsh white bulb glowing faintly through the dust. Someone thought they saw movement at the bottom of the stairs. For a while, nobody went near it. Then, after another round of drinks, a few people decided to check it out, phones in hand, laughing nervously as they started filming. The basement was mostly empty, just a few old boxes, a water heater, and a small window covered by a dusty curtain. But the air was freezing. You could see your breath. "Yo," one guy whispered, pointing. The curtain was moving, even though the window was closed. When they pulled it back, everyone stopped talking. On the other side of the glass, 3 faces stared back, the same clown masks, fogged slightly from the outside air. They didn't move, didn't speak, just watched. Someone screamed. They all bolted upstairs, slamming the door and dragging a chair in front of it. The music was off now. The lights flickered again. Outside, no one saw the clowns leave. When the police came 20 minutes later, there was no one in the yard, no footprint in the damp grass. But when they checked the basement window, there was something written in the dust on the glass, letters drawn by a fingertip from the outside. It said, "Thanks for letting us in." No one ever figured out who the clowns were or how they opened the basement door. The house was torn down a year later to make room for new student apartments. But every Halloween, students in those buildings still say that sometimes when the fog rolls in off the river, they see faces at the basement windows, not moving, just watching.